The Virginia Horse Industry Board, Southwest Virginia Agricultural Association, and the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association are proud sponsors of Virginia farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Large or small, Virginia farmers work year-round to help put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Polaris, offering its hardest working, smoothest riding full-size workhorses, including the all-new 60-horsepower Ranger XP 900. Hunt, farm, or trail. Polaris has the full-size Ranger you want at Polaris.com.
Brought to you by Farm Family, Life, Auto, Business, Farm. Jim Gray, farmer's son, agribusiness owner, insurance agent. Another personal story on farmfamilypeople.com. Farm Family, the people you know. Hi everybody, welcome to Virginia Farming. I'm Amy Rocher. May is Egg Month, and this week we're talking about the impact eggs have on Virginia's economy and how eggs can be the best amount of protein for the money, when Mary Rapoport joins us on Ag Insights. We'll join Mark Viette in the garden to talk about caring for azaleas, and we'll have the Ag Calendar and a Minute in the Field video. All this plus the Ag News of the Week on this edition of Virginia Farming. The USDA has awarded grants to 8 Virginia farms and agribusinesses. The grants help agricultural producers increase their income by expanding marketing opportunities, creating new products, or developing new uses for existing products. The Virginia recipients include Wills Brothers Incorporated for the Mount Crawford Creamery, Mid-Atlantic Aquatic Technology of Quinby, Miller Farms of Locust Grove, Showalter Orchard and Greenhouse of Timberville, Homestead Creamery of Wirtz, Broad Fork Farm of Chesterfield County, Meadowcroft Farm of Swope, and Glen Mary Gardens of Bristol. Grant amounts ranged from $29,000 to $300,000 per farm or agribusiness. VDOC's Commissioner Matt Lohr believes that adding value to a raw agricultural commodity is a great way for farmers to boost their income and diversify their operations. Lohr says the support will benefit rural businesses and communities where the recipients are located and will also support local and regional food systems. Well, this year's wheat crop is expected to total 16.7 million bushels. This production will be up 7% from 2012. Producers in the Commonwealth are expected to harvest 270,000 acres of wheat that will average 62 bushels per acre. The majority of the wheat crop is in fair to good condition. A U.S. Department of Agriculture researcher is studying ways to control bed bugs. The USDA's Bob Ellison has more.
Bed bugs are an annoying problem that has made a comeback in recent years. Dr. Mark Feldlofer with USDA's Agricultural Research Service in Beltsville, Maryland, says bed bugs can infest any place people live.
When the person goes to sleep, they will come out. Their bite is usually painless, so you will not feel them. They can suck blood, finish their blood meal in 5 to 8 minutes, and then they aggregate or they stay together in these very difficult to find cracks and crevices.
And this makes them hard to get at with chemicals.
The problem with spraying is that because bed bugs are cryptic, they hide, it's important to treat all of the hiding areas. So if you treat most of the hiding areas but do not treat some of the other ones, you will still have bed bugs.
To help control them, Dr. Feldlofer is researching alarm pheromones that bed bugs secrete when panicked and cause them to run around.
Perhaps if you were to go in either beforehand or at the same time with alarm pheromone, you would get movement of the bed bugs and dispersal, and they would be more amenable to coming into direct contact with the chemical.
He is also researching a fungus that is often fatal to bed bugs.
Right now we're seeing either by direct application to the bed bug, or if we treat a surface and let the bed bug crawl over the treated surface, we're seeing mortality or efficacy in the 50 to 60% range.
Evidence of bedbug infestation can be bites, spotting from their defecation, and their shed skins. They can be transported in luggage, clothing, and used furniture. Once an infestation has been confirmed, Feldlofer recommends contacting professional pest management. In Beltsville, Maryland, I'm Bob Ellison for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Thank you, Bob. Bedbugs are small pests, but there is another much larger pest that is preying on Virginia herds. The number of black vultures in Virginia has grown over the past 30 years, and the birds have become a nuisance for many farmers, preying on live calves, lambs, piglets, and other vulnerable animals. But because black vultures are protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act and state laws and regulations, property owners and farmers are having trouble dealing with the pests. There are different tools for harassing the birds away and protecting your property legally. But for permanent removal, it is required to contact the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for a depredation permit. For more information on how to manage black vultures, visit the Fish and Wildlife Service website at fws.gov. When it comes to beef, Virginia is a big cow-calf producer. In this segment, Cindy Campbell reports on stocker strategies that set cattle up for success.
Stockers are often an important link from ranch to feedlot. They can maintain the beef quality potential in calves and help prepare them for a great finish. Care and management in this phase makes all the difference in the next.
First of all, make sure that you do everything you can to help those cattle get acclimated to the environment. Certainly good husbandry, make sure they have fresh water and easy access to where the feed's going to be, and just more than anything, make sure that those cattle are able to get to the feed, to the water, and make sure that they're able to get a good start in regards to that.
Respiratory disease is the biggest health concern for stocker cattle, Blanding says. His 3 tips for dealing with it are prevention, control, and therapy.
Prevention, which husbandry plays into that as well, and making sure that we're doing all that we can to prevent these cattle from getting sick. Specifically, when we start talking about animal health tools, we're talking about vaccines, dewormers. People often forget about dewormers, but if we're able to minimize the impact of parasitism on these animals, they're more likely to be able to respond to the vaccines and actually have an immune system that's capable of handling the challenges from respiratory disease.
Control means medicating high-risk groups before sickness breaks, and therapy is treating individuals with antibiotics as needed.
Cattle that get sick anytime during the feeding period are less likely to not only perform, but are less likely to grade appropriately. So it truly has an impact on their ability to meet their genetic potential.
Keeping cattle on a higher plane of nutrition helps the immune system work and sets them up for higher marbling scores later on.
But the thing you need to remember is, in terms of carcass quality, those cattle probably need to be gaining 1.75 to 2 pounds per day to be able to help fill those marbling fat cells, the adipose cells, and intramuscular fat cells. And so we need to match implants, we need to match nutrition, and we need to have a level of average daily gain that will help enhance that animal's ability to deposit marbling at an early age.
I'm Cindy Campbell.
Thank you, Cindy. Well, that time of year is here again, as most farmers markets are now open. Virginia is home to more than 220 farmers markets. Now's the time to buy fresh, locally grown foods and talk to those who grow it. To find a farmers market near you, visit vdax.virginia.gov. Well, one item you might find at a farmer's market is eggs. Eggs pack a powerful punch of protein, and they're full of vitamins. With chickens as Virginia's #1 economic commodity, where do we stand when it comes to eggs? We'll find out when Mary Rapoport joins us. That's straight ahead on Ag Insights. May is Egg Month, and it is my pleasure to welcome the Consumer Affairs Director of the Virginia Egg Council, Mary Rapoport. Mary, welcome to Virginia Farming.
I'm so glad to be here, Amy.
We're so glad to have you back, and you are going to cook something for us this morning. I'm very excited.
New gadget. Are you a gadget person?
I love gadgets.
Do you? Oh, well, you're going to love this. I'm not a gadget person. Give me the different things to make something, and I'm fine. But this gadget, I'm going to tell you, is so fun to work with. It's a breakfast sandwich maker. It's made by Hamilton Beach. It's brand new.
Okay.
A friend of mine is a home economist for them, and she said, "Oh, would you like to try it?" And I have fallen in love with it. It's kind of like Houdini, and it has this little Look at this. It's nice and hot. What I've done is I've plugged it in. Well, first of all, breakfast sandwiches are the most popular items that you can buy in the morning.
Sure, they're quick and easy.
People go through drive-thrus, and this is something you do at home. You start off, it has 3 levels, like this. Okay, I'm going to start off with half of an English muffin, and what I do is use high-fiber English muffins, just as much fiber as I possibly can. And then here's some cheese that I've broken up, and it's lower fat cheese. Put that there. And then you can use vegetables, spinach, you could use roasted peppers. But this is a breakfast meat. It's a pre-cooked bacon. If you're going to use meat, you use a pre-cooked.
Okay.
So, because it doesn't really cook and it just heats up very well. Then you slide this down, and then in here I have an egg that I'm just going to kind of loosen up the yolk just a tiny little bit and spray this like so.
Okay.
Pour this in here. Okay.
Here it sizzle.
So here it sizzle, and I'm going to put the top on here.
Right on top of the egg.
Add some more cheese. How about that?
Perfect.
Or more. I would add spinach if they wanted to there. Cover this up, and then I'm going to set the timer for about 4 minutes. And so when this is done, then we'll know
your
that
egg timer.
My egg
I love
timer.
that.
How do you like that? But anyway, breakfast sandwiches are such a great way to start the day because they're easy. You hold them in your hand. You can eat them in the car. You can eat them on the way to the bus stop.
Sure.
And put anything in them.
You can put anything in them, and the more protein, the better. And that's really what we wanted to talk about today, is the impact of protein. Now, a lot of our agricultural products contain protein. You know, the beef and the cheese. You know, we know that.
Chicken and pork.
And chicken and pork. But specifically eggs. I think you get more bang for your buck protein-wise with an egg.
Well, let me say this. When they compare protein foods from all protein foods, they compare it to the protein in an egg. And the reason for that is because protein is built up of amino acids, essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. And it just so happens that for the human body, eggs contain everything we need, both essential and non-essential. I mean, just think of it, it's life.
Right.
It's life. It's everything that's in an egg is for life, for something. So it's so close to protein that we need. It's considered to be the best protein. The only other better food protein is in mother's milk. So it's very, very close. So, but let's talk a little bit. You know, we're hearing about all these high protein diets today, and why they work and why they're so good for you. And you know, it used to be that you would need to get like 10 or 15% of your day's calories from protein. And now they're finding these higher protein diets seem to be more sustaining for weight loss and continued keeping the weight off.
Right.
And that's important, not just to lose the weight, but to continue keeping it off. And so if you have a diet that's a little bit richer in protein, it seems to be a little bit better for that.
Well, I know, and you can probably answer my question. I don't think it's my imagination, but when I eat, and specifically eggs, when I eat more protein, it sticks with me longer and I don't get as hungry during the day.
Yeah, and that's particularly true of eggs because eggs are in that they have a fat matrix around them. And so when you have the egg protein and that fat that's around it, it's very sustaining. And that's why we always tell our kids, on test day, eat your eggs. And there's a reason for that, because it does stay with them. And they're found that folks that have eggs for breakfast tend to have 300 fewer calories throughout the rest of the day. And it's because they start off satisfied and they're not binging later on in the morning or binging at lunchtime. But let's talk about throughout the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can have it for breakfast, but you kind of need to keep that protein going during the day.
You need 30% of your protein for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And most people, I think, don't you? They have this big, like a roast beef at night or a steak or the chicken or all those things are great. But then they go easier on it at lunchtime, and then some people don't have any protein at all at breakfast. So having it throughout the day is the most important thing.
Well, and I think especially, I think about breakfast and lunch, and how that protein keeps you going.
Absolutely does.
And I know.
See what's in here.
Okay,
Speaking
you're
of
gonna
this. Okay,
test
I
it?
think this is done. Yep, it's done. The neat thing about this gadget is, and I got this for Mother's Day, and that's why I'm really going crazy over it. It toasts the outside. Okay, and this egg that I put in there, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to slide this over.
Look at that.
Is that so cool? It's like Houdini.
So then it comes right
you lift
together.
it.
Okay.
I'm going to close this again now and lift it all up. There it is, all
Look at
totally
that.
done. Is that the coolest thing you ever saw? The top, the bottom are, look at this.
Wow.
Is that wonderful? You can
That's
smell the
beautiful.
bacon.
And the cheese is all melting?
The cheese is all melting. I'm going to put this over here and let this sit. It's
Okay.
piping hot.
We need smell-o-vision because it smells
is that
delicious.
just amazing? Isn't that just wonderful?
It really is.
But it's just, and what you can do in the sandwich like this now, go with the high fiber English muffin. I'm going to make another one here because I see this crew here, especially you. What's your name? Caroline is sitting here.
We all
she has
like
her
to eat.
eyes on this. So I'm going to go ahead while we're talking. Go ahead and do this. I'm starting off with high fiber English muffins because you need fiber in your body. You may as well go with that.
Right.
This
And
pre-cooked,
they're tasty, really.
The neat thing about pre-cooked bacon is the fat has been cooked out of it. You know,
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the fat. You could go with Canadian bacon, which is terrific also, which
Okay.
is very, very lean. Or you can go, like I said, with a vegetarian and just have the cheese and the, again, I'm going to just...
And spinach, and I love spinach with eggs.
Yep, then I'm going to put this in here.
Okay.
And you can salt and pepper it or not, and then I'm going to put this on top and do this like so. And we'll
It's like
cook
your
another
little-
one while we're doing this.
Okay.
Isn't that so cool?
That is amazing.
I think they sell them at Target and on Amazon right now. And
Okay.
it's by Hamilton Beach. It's the coolest little gadget.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about Virginia and eggs.
Virginia is, we have fewer egg farmers than we used to have.
Right.
But there still are large egg farmers, and actually we rank 27th nationally. In Virginia, we're considered a deficit state, which means to feed the folks in Virginia all the eggs that we require, we need to bring eggs into the
bring
state.
eggs in.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I'm going to look at my notes here because we have 716 million eggs are produced in Virginia.
Yeah, that seems
That's
like a huge
annually.
amount annually.
But that's a lot, but we only rank 27th.
Right, isn't that amazing?
So I can't even imagine the numbers that are
Yeah.
coming out of the 1 and 2 states.
And the states that seem to have the most eggs are the ones that are like in corn country, when, you know, next door they have, they don't
Right.
have to, because although we do grow feed corn here, we do have to ship a lot of, we have to ship a lot of it in as well.
Sure.
So, but still, the eggs that we get here are terrific, and then that we bring in eggs from all the surrounding states as well.
And I love to go to farmers markets and get, the fresh local eggs. There's just something different about those eggs. The
Yeah.
yolks are nice and dark. And
Do you know why that is?
No, tell me.
Yeah, well, because many of those chickens are running around the yard, and they're eating bugs and things like that, and that is, or plants.
Right.
And then that's more chlorophyll, and they turn more orange. Sometimes they're a more orange color. Some of them are brown-shelled eggs.
Right.
And do you know what the difference between brown and white are?
I'm gonna answer this, and you can tell me if it's right, because I remember one of the last times you were here. It's by the breed
Exactly.
of chicken.
You're exactly right. And it has to do with the color of the earlobes, I believe. The
Right.
red earlobes create brown eggs, I believe, or something like that. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to catch a chicken to find out what color their earlobes are. Could be a job in itself.
But inside they're identical. The
Right.
outside, and I tell groups of children when I talk to them, it's just like, you're brown, you're white, you're the same inside, and
Right.
the same thing. Brown-shelled eggs will generally cost a little bit more, particularly in this area, because first of all, we don't have that many red leghorns, or we don't have that many Rhode Island Reds. That's what they are.
Right.
So they are a little bit unusual, but they actually take a little bit more feed in that breed of hen to produce eggs than it does in the white leghorn,
Okay.
which we mostly see.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for being here
It's
today
great to be
and
here.
educating us on the wonderful power
And this
of
is
the
National Egg Month,
It is.
so we can celebrate
the
enjoying
power
eggs.
of the egg protein. It's amazing. So thanks so much. We'll be right back. Azaleas are beautiful shrubs with bright, vivid blooms. To keep those blooms coming back year after year takes just a bit of pruning. With tips, here's Mark Viette.
Azaleas are really one of the more popular shrubs that we can grow in our own garden. And just look at the beautiful colors that we have here. And really, to ensure that you're going to get great bloom year after year, there are certain ways to prune these plants. So we're going to talk about how to prune these and at the right time of the year. There are two ways really to prune your azaleas. One is a natural appearance, and that's where you pretty much reach in by hand and just sort of prune here and there to give your shrubs a more natural appearance. And the other way is to use a shears or a head shears to go ahead and give you more of a sheared or more formal look. The first thing we're going to do here is just a more natural look, and I really like using a hand shears, so when you're looking at your shrub, you would just reach in and prune some of this excess growth, just like so. And then you're going to want to come in here and prune a little bit more of these, and sometimes just prune the tips out, just like I'm doing here. It'll take a little longer with the hand shears, but it really is going to give you a softer and a more natural appearance if that's what the effect is that you're looking for. It's you just work on your shrub just like so and prune these back. Now, the real key is to prune these, as you can see, right after they finish blooming. You can see the old foliage here on some of these, of the flowers. And that is the ideal time to come in and shear these. What's going to happen is you're going to get new growth over the next month or two, and some of that new growth is going to set buds for next year. As I'm working through this azalea, I see a real common problem, and it's a fungus called pinkster gall. And if you look, you can just see this growth on the bottom of the leaves. In some cases, you'll have lots of these all over the plants. By this time of the year, all you need to do is just come in with your shears and pretty much just prune it out, and early next spring, just come in with a fungicide, something like Mancozeb according to label directions, or just get a good broad spectrum fungicide from your local garden center will control this fungus. When you want to prune for more formal shapes, you can use some of the automatic, electric, or gas clippers, or you can just use the hedge trimmers, and you can either square off or round off your shrubs. It's important though, when you shear them, try to angle them back so the light can get to the base of the plant. And one of the things that you notice here is if you do prune your azaleas just a little too late, you might shear off the buds, and some of the flowers are going to be down in the foliage. So it's really important to go ahead and prune right after they finish flowering. And right here, for example, we'll take this one here and shear it. And I like them all rounded. And as you can see, I'm angling this back so more light can get into the center. And you just go right around. As you can see, I've really created a nice rounded shape to this azalea. I've only cut off 1 to 2 years worth of old growth. And it's really going to bloom great next year and even better the following year. And for those little empty spots or hollow spots, they're going to fill in with new foliage in just a couple weeks. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
Taking a look at our ag calendar, there will be a 2-day beginning beekeepers workshop for those interested in starting their own apiaries, either for pleasure or potential profit. The first session is May 28th at the Virginia Tech Roanoke Center, followed by a full-day session on June 1st at the Catawba Sustainability Center. For more information, contact Josh Neese. That does it for our show. Have a great week, everyone. I'm Amy Rocher for Virginia Farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. From apples to zucchini, Virginia farmers work hard to put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Polaris, offering its hardest working, smoothest riding off-road ATVs, led by the rugged, more powerful Sportsman 850 HO. Hunt, farm, or trail. Polaris has the Sportsman ATV you want at Polaris.com.
Brought to you by Farm Family. Life, auto, business, farm. Nancy Asher, stable owner, visionary, agent of change. Another personal story on farmfamilypeople.com. Farm Family, the people you know.